Cold killed faster than bullets in World War II. That's not drama, that's fact. In frozen forests, open steppes and snow-choked trenches, frostbite silently removed soldiers from the war without a single shot fired. To commanders, it was a nightmare. To soldiers, it was agony. And buried inside that misery was a brutally simple boot hack that stopped frostbite cold in its tracks. No technology, no batteries, no fancy materials, just knowledge. And honestly, it still works today. This is one of those forgotten survival tricks that separates people who endure from people who don't. And once you hear it, you'll never look at boots the same way again. Why boots failed soldiers in World War II? Armies entered World War II confident in their equipment. Boots were thick, leather was heavy, soles were tough. On paper, they looked ready for winter warfare. Reality crushed that confidence. Leather boots trapped moisture. Sweat froze. Blood circulation slowed. Toes went numb, then white, then black. Frostbite didn't care how brave you were. Once it started, it only moved in one direction. The biggest mistake wasn't cold air. It was trapped moisture and pressure. Tight boots restricted blood flow. Wet socks pulled heat straight out of the feet. Standing still for hours finished the job. Soldiers didn't lose toes because they were careless. They lost them because standard boots were designed for marching, not surviving brutal cold. And that's where an unexpected fix entered the picture. The sock system that changed everything. The breakthrough wasn't a new boot. It was what went inside it. Veteran soldiers discovered that wearing thick socks alone made frostbite worse. The insulation compressed under weight, cutting circulation and trapping sweat. The solution flipped conventional thinking upside down. They layered socks strategically, not thickly. First came a thin inner sock, usually cotton or wool, worn loose. Its job wasn't warmth, it was moisture control. It absorbed sweat and kept it off the skin. Over that came a thicker wool sock, also worn loose, not tight, never tight. The airspace between layers became the real insulation. Warm air, trapped and dry, did more than leather ever could. Then came the real secret. Why removing insoles save feet? This sounds insane until you understand the physics. Boot insoles compressed under body weight. That compression reduced blood flow and flattened insulation. By removing the insole entirely, soldiers created extra internal space. More room meant better circulation. Better circulation meant warmer toes. Some soldiers replaced insoles with folded cloth, straw, newspaper, or even grass when nothing else was available. These materials wickeded moisture and trapped air without compressing like rubber or leather. This wasn't comfort. It was survival engineering. Medical reports from World War II showed dramatically lower frostbite cases among units that adopted loose footwear and layered sock systems. Not because they were warmer, but because their feet stayed dry and alive. Why looseness mattered more than warmth. Cold weather survival isn't about sealing heat in, you know. It's about letting blood move freely. Tight boots are frostbite factories. Soldiers were instructed to loosen laces, even during marches. When stopping, they would stomp feet, flex toes, and keep blood flowing. The goal was constant micro-movement. Stagnation meant danger. This idea clashed hard with military discipline. Shiny, tight boots were tradition. Loose boots looked sloppy. But in World War II, the men who ignored appearance kept their toes. Commanders eventually learned the hard way that survival outranked uniform regulations. The enemy was sweat, not snow. One of the most misunderstood truths of cold warfare is this: sweat kills. When feet sweat, moisture steals heat 30 times faster than dry air. Once moisture freezes, frostbite accelerates. Soldiers were taught to change socks whenever possible, even if it meant briefly exposing feet to the cold. Dry feet were warmer than insulated wet ones, every time. Some units even carried spare socks inside jackets to keep them warm before swapping. That warmth jump-started circulation instantly when putting them on. This wasn't luxury. It was battlefield medicine. Why this hack still works today? Modern boots are better, you know. Materials are lighter, insulation is smarter, but the human foot hasn't changed. Hikers, hunters, military personnel and cold weather workers still suffer frostbite for the same reasons soldiers did in World War II: tight footwear, moisture build-up and poor circulation. The old sock system still outperforms expensive gear when used correctly. Thin inner layer, thick outer layer, space to move and no compression. Even today, cold weather survival manuals quietly echo the same advice discovered under fire nearly 80 years ago. The most dangerous cold isn't extreme. Here's the brutal twist. Most frostbite doesn't happen in extreme cold. It happens just below freezing. That's when snow melts into boots, when sweat doesn't evaporate, and when people underestimate risk. World War II soldiers learned that discipline in foot care mattered more than temperature. Checking feet, drying socks, adjusting laces, small actions repeated constantly. Neglect didn't punish immediately. It waited, then it crippled. Why this knowledge almost disappeared? After the war, technology surged ahead. New boots promised insulation without effort. Convenience replaced discipline, and hard-earned field wisdom faded into archives. But, you know, history has a way of circling back. Every winter, stories surface of modern adventurers losing toes despite advanced gear. Meanwhile, the old methods quietly keep working for those who know them. World War II didn't just produce weapons. It produced survival knowledge written in blood and ice. Final thoughts from the last global war. This boot hack wasn't clever. It was necessary. It didn't rely on innovation. It relied on understanding the body and respecting the cold. And that's why it still matters. History isn't just dates and battles, it's lessons. And some of the most valuable ones were learned at -30 degrees with numb fingers and frozen boots. If you found this useful, do what soldiers always did, pass the knowledge on. Subscribe to The Last Global War for more forgotten truths from World War II that still shape survival today. Share this with someone who thinks warm boots are enough. Because sometimes the smallest adjustments are the difference between walking home and never walking again.